everyone, this is Pico Entertainment and we are back again, and here now we have another video for you, and we're going to talk about Michelle Pfeiffer, one of the most stunningly beautiful actresses from the 1980s and 90s, and do a breakdown of the best movies throughout her great long time career. Now as usual, I'll do my best to avoid spoilers when talking about the movies that are mentioned during this ranking. So we'll start off this list then with the romantic comedy from the 1990s, and that is Frankie and Johnny. Set in present day New York, it sees Pfeiffer as waitress Frankie, who's despondent and emotionally detached after relationship dramas. She meets the newly recruited chef Johnny, who's much more of an extroverted personality, who has recently come out of prison for forgery. And the story follows the two contrasting personalities and the twists and turns within their connection and romance. Reuniting once more with the legendary Al Pacino, their first collaboration will also be mentioned later on throughout this breakdown. This movie is a very light, charming romantic comedy, which is a genre not really a favourite of mine, but the film is watchable because of the great chemistry between the two leads. It's a strange film that I liked more because of the actors themselves rather than the characters that they were portraying. But Pfeiffer gets the stronger character work here, especially in the scenes where she reflects on her past, and she looks stunningly beautiful as always, despite the intentions to de-glamorise her looks and keeping much more of the Broadway play source material. And the film drew a certain criticism because they simply couldn't believe that somebody like Michelle Pfeiffer, looking as good as what she does, would struggle to get a date with any man, regardless of what era it is in. But despite that, she's still great in every scene that she's involved in, once more bouncing off a great dynamic with Al Pacino, who is also good to show his other versatile side, playing the much more romantic, softer personality. And it's a joy to watch two of your favourite actors and their dynamic will have you rooting for the couple all the way through, which is what all romantic comedies should do. We'll move on to the next entry on this list, which is The Witches of Eastwick. Released in 1987, it has Pfeiffer starring alongside Cher and Susan Sarandon as three women based in Eastwick, longing for certain desires from certain men and being bored with their current lifestyles. Now their lives change forever when mysterious entrepreneur Daryl Van Horn enters the town and causes quite a stir and attention. He then proceeds to acquire certain businesses within the location, and he goes on to seduce each of the women, causing certain rivalries and fraction within their friendships. They later on realise that not all is what it seems, and they go to discover darker intentions within Daryl himself. George Miller's wacky supernatural comedy really is a film that you just have to go along with and embrace its randomness. The film is very much aware of what it is, so you should never take it too seriously. It primarily works because of all of the actors involved. Of course, the movie is elevated because of the central performance of Jack Nicholson, grandstanding and chewing the scenery every chance he gets. But a trio of attractive actresses at the time also get their time to shine, and overall it's a very playful movie, perhaps too playful, especially in the climactic act, but overall it's entertaining all the same. We'll then talk about one of Michelle Pfeiffer's most underrated movies, and that is What Lies Beneath. Starring alongside Harrison Ford, they play the happily married couple Claire and Norman Spencer, who live quietly in Vermont. But things change when newly neighbours arrive, and this causes Claire to start experiencing visions, which uncovers dark and deadly secrets and revelations from the past. Robert Zemeckis' compelling supernatural mystery may start slowly, but there remains an eerie tension and escalating suspense as the story progresses. Despite superstar Harrison Ford getting the top billing in terms of the promotion, this is absolutely Pfeiffer's movie, and she's terrific in the role, driving the story all the way through as we see all of the different emotions, sensations and reactions that Claire goes through, and she has some truly stand-up moments, whether we see her being possessed by a ghost or the tension-filled bathtub scene. It's truly one of her most underappreciated performances, despite the film being quite the big box office success back in the year 2000. So a very fine effort in What Lies Beneath, and very much checking out if you haven't done so already. We then go right back to one of Michelle's earliest roles, and that is in Grease 2. Starring as the very hot Stephanie Saloni, the leader of the Pink Ladies, mixing it with the T-Birds in American high school, and eventually connecting with shy, clean British student Michael Carrington. Forever cast in the shadow of the iconic first film, Grease 2 is very much a fun, entertaining sequel, sharing the same joyous energy and satisfaction from the first. And Pfeiffer is absolutely great as Stephanie, oozing coolness and attitude and conviction. And all fans of this sequel will remember the most famous scene of the film, which is the cool rider sequence where we see Stephanie outlining what she wants in a man. And Michelle looks absolutely fantastic as always in this moment. Now unfortunately, her and Maxwell Caulfield don't share the same transcendent dynamic as what John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John did, but that's more down to the writing than more the performances of the actors. And Grease 2 is really one of those underrated sequels that just doesn't get its due. It doesn't have the legacy or the impact of the original, of course, but still the songs are still great and it stands on its own without having to rely on any of the impact of the first film. So a very great entry in overall in Michelle's career in Grease 2. We'll then move up to another brilliant sequel on this list, and it's without question Michelle's most iconic role, and it is of course as Selena Kyle, straight Catwoman from Batman Returns. Tim Burton's superlative comic book sequel to the iconic 1989 original sees Michael Keaton's Cape Crusader returning, going up this time against Danny DeVito's Penguin as well as Pfeiffer's Catwoman. And it's in this role where she truly electrifies the screen in one of the very rare examples where the movie adaptation of the character is actually superior to the source material. In that material, the character is really nothing more than a love interest for Batman, but here we have far more of a complex interpretation. We see her starting off as lonely secretary Selena Kyle, undermined by her male superiors and eventually murdered by Christopher Walken's Max Schreck, before being revived of sorts by cats in the alleyway, and then turning into a schizophrenic, freakish nymphomaniac animal. And when we get this vivid transformation taking place, she captures your attention every time in the Catwoman disguise, where this personality there are clear intentions of a sexualized S&M femme fatale. And Pfeiffer just completely inhibits the role with a fearless energy and complete conviction, and you simply cannot take your eyes off her. And this interpretation is just one of the many elements of Burton's much more elaborate gothic imagination, where aesthetically this plays like a very dark, twisted gothic Christmas fairy tale, with the snow-filled city landscapes, Danny Elfman's magnificent score, and just a much more sophisticated and classy look about it. It still ranks as the best live-action Batman movie, and Pfeiffer's triumphant screen portrayal shows her brilliance and its amazing performance, and this is overall a truly great sequel. But so we come to it at last then, the number one best movie on this list within Michelle Pfeiffer's career, and it is of course Scarface. Brian De Palma's ultra-violent gangster epic sees Al Pacino as Cuban refugee Tony Montana transferred over to 1980s Miami, rising up through the criminal ranks, looking to consume the world and everything in it. Now we could spend hours on the sheer epicness and impact of this film. It's still possibly the most vivid and greatest gangster film of all time, and Pacino's portrayal as Tony Montana is still the greatest, most compelling performance from a leading actor. But we'll focus on Pfeiffer, who very much plays the typical gangster mole in Elvira, but we see throughout the story that she's much more than the romantic lead or the love interest or the damsel in distress. As a character, she's very much more the cold, cynical personality who is absolutely under no illusions on the gangster world. She'll go with what benefits her the most, and she sees the world for what it truly is. And in many intense scenes, she more than holds her own against Pacino, and this is a significant performance within the film, and her role here was really a marker that as an actress she carried much more substance than just somebody who had stunningly beautiful looks. So a brilliant performance in a brilliant movie, capping off one of the most successful and certainly one of the most impactful actresses long time within cinema in Michelle Pfeiffer. So there's my thoughts and feelings and breakdown of the best movies within Michelle Pfeiffer's career. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you have any other movies, television series or any other topics within the pop entertainment and culture scene that you'd like to see me cover within this channel, then also drop me a suggestion within the comments and I will see if I can provide further commentary for you on that subject matter within the future. Please also hit like the subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you very, very soon.